Hey guys, it's James from Active, and today we want to give you some insight into our latest product, which is the ShortGun. Many of you know this product and buy it as an accessory for the pressure washers in the market, and we wanted to come out with our own version. So today I also have the pleasure of introducing you to James Casey. He's been our lead industrial designer here at Active for almost 10 years and really responsible for the design of the products, the customer experience, the feeling. And so yeah, he'll go in deep on how we kind of developed this product. First and foremost is, we had chosen some benchmarks in the industry. So whether it was this gun from Mossmatic, or there's a version called MTM, or there's even some low-cost Chinese ones, we essentially got all of them and tested them and kind of played around with them, looked at the materials, looked at their design. Ultimately, we landed on this Obsessed Garage version of the Mossmatic as kind of the best gun out there for a number of reasons. And so this was became our benchmark. And we just thought there was an opportunity in the market to really understand why this is so popular, develop our own based on this one, and offer it at a superior value. So that was kind of how we approached it. Of course, we still reference the other guns in the market and to see what we could learn. So how did we land on this as a product that we wanted to develop? Obviously, it is from listening to the community and watching what people were doing with our own V52. And we noticed that most people were modifying it with a longer hose and a version of a short gun. And this was especially prevalent in the auto detailing community. So that's where we kind of found the opportunity. And moreover, when we looked at what was really selling in the market and the cost of these, we just felt there was a great opportunity to offer something as good or better at a more valuable, accessible price point. And that was really the driving force behind this decision. And I think what was really interesting as well was we were able to gather feedback from the detailing community on what they liked and didn't like about the current designs on the market, and try to incorporate some of those improvements into this design. So I think that'll be a great model for us going forward in terms of listening to the community and seeing what other detailing specific products or accessories we can kind of use the same process of benchmarking and kind of moving the design language forward on for the next generation of product.
Yeah, so there's a number of things that we liked about this one. Obviously the materials and everything on the inside, but there was a few things about the size, the balance, and that we thought we could improve on. So we started off with down this road, and I'm pretty happy where we ended up here. So it's quite a bit, well, it's a little bit smaller, as you can see here, which allows you to get in tighter spaces. As well, the balance is a little bit more centered, as opposed to, you don't feel it as much in your wrist, so there was that. And then adding other features like having a nice rubber grip here, and yeah, textured housing, the feeling of the gun in your hand. These are all things that we were working towards. Creating a new departure for this category. Like this is a perfectly fine design of a gun, but it feels like a one in a long line of developments that came out of agriculture. So with this was also an opportunity to really define the Active brand as a unique product brand, and yeah, so it was just where the pencil led me. So.
Well, we have some neat stuff to it as well, right? So you're mentioning we have kind of like a overmold here for better grip. Mm-hmm. And looking at the Mossmatic, I think the other thing that we did is we incorporated, or have the option of incorporating, the swivel up inside the handle to make the gun overall smaller. Of course, we're going to have multiple versions of the gun, And we also looked at materials, right? We kind of looked at different materials available. So actually, this prototype here has a aluminum trigger, as opposed to a plastic trigger that's found on most units in the market. So why aluminum?
Well, it was just about, so if we were to open this up, you would see everything is metal inside, and so it was about extending that main mechanism to the outside. So whereas you have, something like this where all the guts are inside, and then this feels like part of the shell, this trigger here. So to really incorporate the internal mechanism to the user, we thought, well, why not just extend the durability and everything of the metal inside to the outside, so you can actually feel this is a metal on metal connection, and just increased durability, lifetime, all of that.
Yeah, and I think, we're going to have two versions of it, one with an aluminum trigger, one with a plastic trigger, which is obviously cheaper. And I don't know if there's an actual functional benefit to the metal trigger. Obviously, plastic triggers work great, but as James was mentioning, there's that connection to the actual mechanism of the gun, which I think is a pretty neat thing. There were a lot of other technical challenges with the gun. We worked a lot on identifying how different guns achieved their trigger feel. You'll see the Mossmatic has almost a two-stage trigger, and they have their own way of kind of creating that tension. And we looked at that as well. And so what we're trying to do, of course, we've shortened the stroke here, I guess you could say. We've paid attention to the feel of the trigger. So it certainly is not just trying to copy what's on the market and so forth. There's also, design limitations when dealing with a gun. So for example, this part here, I think this is a CSA regulation. I believe the use of standard fittings was the big objective. That's some of the, that's one of the big questions we always get is why can't we include more quick connects? Why can't it be easier? Why can't these fittings be standardized? So we obviously thought about that. You do need to have a trigger lock to prevent the user from, accidentally activating the gun. I don't know who uses it in reality, but anyways, that's mandated. So this project has probably taken a bit longer than I would have liked, but given the restraints of COVID and traveling around the world and not being able to visit certain facilities and so forth, this unit now will finally come out in its different versions, probably available around July of this year. I think it's more like August, September. So that's when you'll be able to purchase the gun. Of course, there'll be a lot more information as we finalize the specifications of it and the costing in the next couple of weeks. So we're gonna have two versions available in July. The top version will have all stainless steel fittings, and it'll have a swivel on the bottom here, as well as an aluminum trigger. We'll also have a more opening price point version that won't have the swivel or the aluminum trigger, but we'll still share kind of the design characteristics and balance of this unit here. So one of the exciting developments that came out of this whole project was this whole idea around the connection to the metallic components leading into the aluminum trigger. And I think it led us to a place where we thought it would be a really, really cool and neat thing to do an entire gun out of aluminum.
Yeah, it's a pretty exciting project. To have a gun entirely aluminum will be totally unique on the market. And I think it talks about the heritage of tools. All metal, you can look at motorsports, you see examples of it all over there. And yeah, it's going to be very cool.
So it's kind of like those old air tools that you see that have these beautiful aluminum housings. They can be machined in a certain way. They can be anodized to different colors and so forth. So we're we're not going to build it exactly like this in terms of design. We're going to really see what's possible from a design point of view because we're using a different material and a different process. So the objective is just to really build a beautiful piece that we think, if you're a true enthusiast of just design and materials, that you'll enjoy. And of course, it'll work great because it'll incorporate all of the features and benefits and kind of engineering that went into this gun here. Well, I hope you've enjoyed listening to a bit about what goes on to product development, especially as it relates to the shortgun. I know a lot of you are buying various pressure washers on the market and all modifying it with your own hose, and a lot of you are buying these shortguns because they are easier to use for many applications. So we just wanted to have our own version and make it the best it could be. So we hope you like it, and as we said, it'll be available hopefully by July for purchase. And leave us a comment or leave us a question on what you think about the aluminum gun concept, if you want us to develop anything else with the same approach, and we'll be happy to respond.